Welcome back to Attack on Titan Anime Review, Episode 58. My final episode of this review series. I might come back for occasional one-offs, but this is the last one I'm going to do for a long time. Now, you might be thinking, like, is there anything else left to review? Do you talk about this? But basically, I'm talking about Final Chapter, Special Number 2. The only thing else technically to talk about is probably Attack on Titan Counter Rockets. That's if I get to it. And that's probably it. Yes. Oh, by the way, what Armin asked now what he's doing, like, what is it going to be by freedom? Aaron doesn't answer him. So, this episode is mostly put this special, which, by the way, this is an hour and 24 minutes. It covers basically the first 6 pages of chapter 134 and covers the entirety of chapters 135 to 139, roughly covering 5 chapters in 6 pages. Yes, basically about half a freaking volume for Attack on Titan. Yes. So mostly put, here's what happens. We have oh, by the way, I forgot remembering the kid now. His name is Falco. So Falco, Gabby, and Annie are on the ship to Mikas's relative's homeland, where it found out that, well, because Falco drank Zeke's spinal fluid, he can become a Titan. And he does. They're the cause of the ship, but everybody survived anyways. They did make a change here with this, where in the manga, you only see the bottom of the ship. In the anime, it's shown the ship split in half when he transformed into a Titan. Yep, and that's one of several changes they make here, and I will get to the rest of the changes they made. So, mostly everybody basically is taken care of. So it turns out that the Beast Titan who attacked them in the first episode, turns out that's not the actual Beast Titan. It's a hollow imitation. They're not pure Titans. And we see also, like, several versions, like, Annie identifies one of them, who shows up later in the episode, as a Titan who not been seen in centuries. I think it's a Pars Titan, I think it is. They might be curious, though. Every single Titan user who's still alive in the series, at this point, do all of them transform? Does Reiner, Peck is the cart Titan, do they transform? Yes, they do. Does Armin? Yes. Does Annie? Yes. So, they basically battle about the whole thing. And there's also a brief thing of the Secretary of Marley. Looks like he's about to point a gun at, well, Annie's dad. And then we hear gunshots. We don't hear exactly what happened until the end of the episode. We'll get back to that. So, basically, Armin is rescued. Well, apparently we see that he's in the place where basically Ymir is. That's actually the name of the founding alien. Well, first he finds Zeke building something in the sand near the giant tree. Zeke himself, if you're curious, he does do some stuff in this one. Like, he basically did nothing in part 1. I do mean nothing. Here he basically has the Titans who, well, the invitation to turn on themselves and to attack Eren. So, also Peck basically uses explosives. They got in first part to cover Eren's neck bone, and before he's about to explode, the Warhammer timing comes in basically to stab the Titan. Look how basically she would survive the problem. And despite the fact the head of her basically keeps getting ripped off, she's able to basically transform back 100 times, as much as she can. And she pointed out, though, she's not a utility Titan. She's basically a combat Titan. That's basically what she is here. They kept referring to Eren as the attack Titan in this form, despite the fact that this giant Titan is not the attack Titan. He doesn't go versions later on in the episode, but what is here just basically is technically the way the founding Titan a little bit. It reminds me a lot of the Turkey Titan we saw in season 2 of 3 of the show. And that thing was huge. Really huge. And that was Historia's father. Oh, she's briefly seen in the episode where she's about to give birth. We also see these various images of the rumbling happening, it looked like across the world. Looks like a version of Japan, a version of London. You don't think Japan because of the gate thing. So, everybody's, and we also see this scene, which is from the manga too, where there's this baby. Like, everybody's all covered in covered like black and white. There's this baby whose mother falls off the cliff. Baby keeps getting carried. Makes babies, and of course this ends with being, well, I'll get back to that. So, Aaron, of course, Armin is basically absent almost the entire episode. He's basically in his afterlife stuff, and of course, Val comes in on this flying Titan. Yes, this bird-like Titan, which Falcon does one more time in the episode. So technically, now I should point out though, he did this in the last few chapters. Him basically going to this flying Titan mode, and apparently no one has ever seen a flying Titan before. Never. This is by far the first and only time in the whole series we see a flying Titan. So they all get out, and of course, Andy reunites her father in the episode after the whole explosion happens. Aaron separates from that giant worm thing, and then the worm unleashes gas. So Levi, who's injured in the episode, breaks his leg. So him, Mikasa, Peck, Reiner basically goes out running, and also Armin escapes from where he was and basically explodes, blowing up the rest of that form. Now, Aaron is still alive, and he's in a version of the Attack on Titan mode, basically a skinless version of it, where him and Armin are fighting. Armin's in the Colossal Titan form. We also see Barnett's in the episode. No, in case you're curious though, his voice actor does not return for the episode. There's a good reason that he doesn't return. You want to know what the reason is? Barnett doesn't speak the whole episode. You see him, but he does not speak at all. They use this form basically as a protection. Like, this is kind of weird. They refer to, and this is also manga's fault too. Like, Barnett, my guess, because when Barnett was a Colossal Titan and when Armin's a Colossal Titan, they're like, they're different per se. I would say Barnett's was more perfect than Armin's was. Armin doesn't use the thing that much. So then of course you have Reiner holding back this giant worm skeleton thing. And the thing unleashes gas, which turns Connie, Jean, Annie's dad, and Reiner's mom into Titans. Yes, he makes them into Titans. And then, of course, we see Mikasa, where she finds where Aaron is. He's inside the Attack Titan's mouth, where she then proceeds to go inside, chop off his head, and then we see her kissing the head of Aaron. And we also see this like vision sequence, which Armin remembers. So they have a conversation if in fact that Aaron has feelings for Mikasa. It's confirmed he does. But basically, the stuff he does, he doesn't really think they could be together because of the evil things he's done. So he wants her to be happy, but he's probably the only person she really loved. And then, of course, she takes Aaron's head away. She does point out, though, and this I'm so glad to hear this from the manga, that if Armin had the head, they'll take it away, probably put public display. Mikasa decides to go back to Paradise Island and bury the head on that tree on that hill, which of course is the title of the final chapter. And that's where he's buried. I'll get back to that. So then, of course, with Aaron defeated, the Titans' power is gone. There are no more Titans. Everybody is transformed back. The Marley forces are basically pointing guns at the Eldians. Annie's father points out, though, we're not monsters anymore. We're normal. And then, of course, like, he's like, we'll take a DNA test to prove it. And of course, like, the secretary thinks only to prove it's basically killing them. And then you have Armin takes up his ODM gear and kind of tells the Marlians that basically what they're doing is bullcrap. It's like saying that if we had the power of Titans, we would attack you right now. And of course, Secretary does not know who Armin is, and you are. He mentions him as Armin Ackerman. As Armin. He's an Eldian, a Paradise Island, and he says he murdered Aaron A. Yeager. He takes credit for it, and the war ends. And then we jump ahead 3 years later, where we see, like, Historia has given birth to a girl. She's living with the father, which this is the same guy who bullied her, and yet they have a kid together. I find this kind of weird. Like, somehow she fell in love with the guy who used to bully her when she was a kid, and these two have a kid together. And it's implied that Aaron kind of, let's just say, the best way to describe this relationship between the two of them, despite the fact that clearly this would not work, Aaron kind of pushed for this. In a way, he kind of, because he used his power, as the Valentine's power, to basically have Astoria be with a guy she probably didn't like very much, because he's the bully her, and they have a kid together. We see the kid is now 3 years old, and we also see, now Mikasa shows the later in the episode, she's growing her hair back out, which I'll get back to. So, we see that Armin is reading a letter. We see Armin there, Peck, Reiner, who shaved off his goatee. Gene is basically using his hair. And of course, they also poke fun at the fact that, hey, you're trying to seduce a married woman. Yes, it was mentioned that Mikasa got married after the war. And it's rumored she had kids. But they don't show them here, per se. And we do not know who her husband is. She just got married and had family. And probably spends time with Aaron's, and next Aaron's grave whenever she can, and still wears the scarf. She actually put it on. Oh, she actually put it on just before she killed Aaron. She put the scarf back on one more time, and it stayed on her throughout the rest of this whole episode. So they all go home as ambassadors, and to prepare for war, and people building for war. The military is building up, and then, like we see, Shueisha, I think that's the name of the city, where the hill is, and you see it build up to be like a modern day city, and then it's destroyed via war, and then we see that it becomes sort of a post-apocalyptic area, like basically, I think it's, oh, by the way, they do change Levi here a bit. He's still in a wheelchair like he has in the manga. Oh, by the way, the black guy's name is Ogre. You see him lifting boxes. You see, Levi is not being pushed by Gavin Falco the episode. Gavin Falco actually planting trees. What's Levi doing? Giving out candy to kids. Two of them look like the very kids that were stomped on by the rumbling did stop. And what the heck happened to the Wall Titans? Disappeared with all the Titan power. So then, of course, the city is destroyed. And we see stuck and built up. Like the grave gets pushed in the ground, and then apparently we see this kid and his dog in this post-apocalyptic wasteland. Not desert per se, basically everything ruins. Where they walk up, we don't know who this boy is. He looks like Aaron, and he goes inside this tree. And the tree looks very similar to the one that Ymir went into 2,000 years from the events of the series. And that's the special for you. The special itself was really good. I did not mind the changes here. I thought oh, by the way, they did extend the sequence of basically Historia's daughter on screen, get a little more screen time. In the manga, she was on screen for she only appeared in one panel. Here she appears on screen for like a few minutes. That's one thing I appreciate with Attack on Titan anime, is that they actually extend sequences. Like, for example, there was a sequence in season 1 of the show, someone pointed this out, the scene where a young Mikasa, probably about 12, 13, beats a bunch of guys, and that was over the course of, that was basically a few minutes, and that was of just 3 panels. Yeah, 3 panels in 3 minutes. Yes, of course, the anime does cut some out, like they cut out a scene that was put in the compilation movie, where Mikasa lifted an arm with one hand. But we'll get back to that more in a minute. But final thought, great special overall. Final thoughts on the main series, and I'll give a shout out to the voice actors for this one. Final thoughts. Absolutely amazing series. I find nothing really major with it per se. I did find it kind of weird that Wit Studio, who had did it since season 1, for the last season show, they switched to Mappa, which is the same studio that makes Jujutsu Kaisen. And for some strange reason, they stretched out the final arc of the series for 3 years. Has anybody ever heard of an anime that stretched out its last season for 3 freaking years? Yes, I'm sure Wit Studio has got, Mappa has gotten a lot of flack for this. And I do mean a lot of flack. Probably not only from people in Japan, but also people probably here in the United States. I do know of the fact that one episode was delayed by 1 day because of an earthquake. And here's something really stupid. Okay, so the episode probably wasn't ready to be aired. It had to be delayed by 1 day. Apparently, people got so upset that some people were sending death threats to the creators for daring to delay an episode because of an earthquake. And my response to people who did this: you are complete morons who did this. These people were in shock over an earthquake that happened. People died. And you're complaining because an episode got delayed? That's freaking stupid. Aside from that, now the last season of the show, I did not watch the whole thing dubbed. I watched it sub basically when it was coming out, but I probably will go back to watch basically from the start of this final season up until that last episode 87. I will probably get a chance to watch. I decided to watch these specials dubbed because I started watching the series dubbed. By the way, I actually watched my very first episode of the series. I kid you not, this was like 6 years ago. Yes, 6 years ago, I began watching the series. And that was when I was in my old house. That's when I started viewing this series. And viewed it since then. The first regular season I watched was basically season 3 when it aired. And of course, I watched this one. Yes, I did read the compilation movies, the first 2. And the last one I watched was one they did for the second season. Like, I was kind of hoping they might add stuff in. Now, the first part, they did add stuff in that would cut off the anime. Part 2 did not, because the first compilation movie, the first one they did, was basically covering the first half of season 1. The second one was for the second half. The third one they did was basically, season 2. The third one, which is basically Roar Awakening. That was a recap of the entire 3 seasons of the show. Excuse me. And there's Chronicle as well. And after watching the first few movies, last that came out, I chose not to watch it because there's nothing really new out of those. Just basically just an abridged retelling of the seasons. Now, yes, I did review the OVAs they had for this series. Of course, yes, I did watch Attack on Titan Junior High, which I found this series quite hilarious. And it's surprising they never finished adapting that one. Yeah, they never finished. Yeah, but... So, great series overall. Now I give a shout out to the voice actors. Bruce Papacook, who voiced Eren Yeager. Excellent job. Mikasa, who's voiced by Tria Nisherwood. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. Nashimura. Excellent job. I did ask her that was she surprised in this last season that Mikasa cut her hair. She was definitely surprised. She did put also on Instagram, if you ever get a chance to find it, she actually did a video of her recording the last line she did for the entire series. Basically, the scene where you see her talking to Eren's grave, that's the last line she ever recorded for the whole series. Yep. Jason Labrica, who did, of course, the Beast Titan Zeke. Excellent job. Yeah, he was amazing. Like, he was by far like a pure enjoyment factor on every time he showed up on screen. It was just pure awesome at its finest. Now, of course, also I gotta give a shout out to Alyssa Maxwell, who voiced Ymir, the first scene Jaw Titan, who got replaced because, well, her thing was imperfect. She did an excellent job in this series. Armin was voiced by, well, at the time, basically, he was known as Josh Grell. He has since outed himself as transgender. Yeah, he is a transgender. He is now known as Jesse James Growl. I don't know why he did this for. It was weird. Renair, he was voiced by Ron McCollum, did an excellent job. Connie was voiced by Clifford Champion. I think he did a pretty decent job. Mm-hmm. Sasha was not. Ooh, who for some reason, I'm not sure why, Ashley Birch voiced her in the first season of the show. You think, wait, that name sounds familiar. Like, yeah, she has one now. For anime wise, aside from this series, the only thing I have seen her in, and I'm looking up right now, uh, just this one. Yeah, then for the last season, she's replaced Mega Chipman. I'm not sure why. Historia, who actually, this season she didn't technically speak. She voiced by Brian Apple, who did an excellent job voicing her. Yes. Flock, of course, who was killed in the previous episode, voiced by Matt Shipman, who I believe is Megan's brother. If I get a chance to meet her, I'd probably ask her about the fact that there's another one, I think there might be brother or sister, I'm not really sure. Erwin, Jay Megaturn briefly returns to his character at the last season 20 of season 1 of the show. Hanj, of course, was voiced by Jessica Calvario, who actually did a pretty good job with the dub. Mm-hmm. Levi, Matthew Mercer, did an excellent job. A little fun fact when it comes to this character and Law from One Piece. Yes, dub actor, same guy. Also, same sub actor. Yes, you look it up. He did both series. Yep. Yeah, but really excellent show. And I do recommend it. Okay, so that's going to be pretty much it for a particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe to notifications, and do the dislike button. Next time we have a Comic Corner, and it's on to Martial Magic and Muscles. Okay, next video. Bye.